So here we are, out on a test ride. What I thought I'd do is skip the intro. I did an intro, and do you know what I thought? No, what I'll do is I'll get on board and see if people can guess what bike I'm on. So I'll give you a second to think about it. I'll give you a clue. It's got 6 gears. Anyway, yeah. So this was suggested to me, and I had discounted this bike when it first came out because I was disappointed that it wasn't a 4-cylinder, and because of that it wasn't true to the bike that it was mimicking. Have you guessed yet? Yeah, it's a Kawasaki Z650RS. Yeah, twin cylinder, not 4, disappointingly, but nonetheless I watched Mark Pullen's review and I thought, oh, that's one, it doesn't sound bad, and 2, it seems to go well, and he liked it. So I thought, well, I've got to try it. Now, you might not know, I had a Z900RS calf, and I absolutely loved it. The problem was it got me into trouble with the wife, and potentially could have got me into trouble with the law, because he was a very naughty boy called Kevin, was the bike, and he was exceptionally quick, and lots of fun, but I decided it'd be safer for us to part ways. Now, the things I liked about him, there's a lot sort of being crossed over into this Z650. Things that I like. The clocks, pity they're not chrome round the outside, but I think if you get the green one, they are. This is the grey and silver one. And the sound, it's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. But we'll get down to more of it later. For now, what I've got to do, I've got to get to the A14, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to go down the boatyard, and then maybe for a little ride from there, but we'll do a walk round at the boatyard, and see what we think of it. I'll also have a chance to acclimatise to it. It feels about the size of Bertie, to be honest. It's not uncomfortable, that's for sure. I'm 6'2", in case you don't know. Excellent sound, well done. So we'll see what it's like on the A14, because as you know, that's an important part. It's very difficult to go anywhere without going on a dual carriageway these days. Obviously this is substantially smaller than the Z900 and doesn't sound anything like, but do you know what? It's not a bad bike. It feels so far okay. You know, no fairing or anything like that. We'll see what the wind blast is like. I'm not sure what the camera's set up like on this bike, because of course every time you get on a bike your position slightly changes, and I have been on a nice upright but it's got some go in it. 5,500 revs, 70 miles an hour into a head-on wind. It's not a strong wind, but it's very comfortable. And another test that's always worth doing for me anyway is going over the Orwell bridge, because you get some wicked winds across there, and even though they might close it for high-sided vehicles, they sometimes don't for cars. But if you're on a motorbike you can get really blown about on it. But this is a marvellous little bike so far, I've got to say. It has surprised me. I thought that 50 was for here, it's for the slip road. Very impressed with it. And of course, this is the demo bike, so it's, let's be honest, it's probably been ragged, because it feels like it's that sort of bike, a little bit like the Triumph Street Twin. That felt like you'd want to give it some, and this feels pretty much the same, but it does feel exceptionally stable here on the bridge. There isn't a huge amount of wind, but there is some wind. See if I can adjust that mirror up a bit. That's better. Yeah, good. 2 clocks you'll notice. 2 clocks. Marvellous. Can see it's telling me the time. Obviously got a trip indicators down here. I think the clocks would definitely look nicer with a bit of chrome round. All the switchgear, usual stuff, good standard. The Japanese, they know how to make motorcycles. A little bit of vibration, very small, but it's nice vibration. It's telling you you're riding a motorbike. That's nice. I do like it. It actually feels quite punchy, does the engine. Oh, we're coming off here, are we? Oh, lovely. Lovely into the corners. But let's get back up on the A14. Slight detour over a massive ridge in the road there. Didn't move a muscle, just a little bump. I don't know if you noticed that. There we go, back on the A14. Nice little manoeuvre. That was a deliberate ploy, of course. So like I say, 70 miles an hour, 5,500 revs. Very good. But I'm hoping when we get on the little side road, you'll be able to see, or hear, sorry, should I say, because you know I'm big on the senses. You'll be able to hear it, and it is a very stable motorbike. You can say that for definite. So, I mean, in theory, this is similar to the Interceptor, which I've also got to try. It's a 650 twin. Also down here for the suspension is it's quite a good test, because after this dual carriageway bit it gets a bit bouncy because they get all the big lorries down here. So just there, and yeah, it rides them pretty well, to be honest. This is marvellous. But I mean, just listen to the engine. I'll give it a... So as you can see, it goes a little bit. It really does. And it handles. Very good, very nice. Whoa, yeah, it's not going to think much of this road. This is very bouncy. So we'll go nice and steady down here. Otherwise I'll have no teeth left. Ooh, they'll stand up there and we'll see what it looks like. So, as I do always, down here is a good way of practicing what would it be like in traffic, in that slow moving traffic, not the sort of stand still. That's quite irritating, but sometimes you get in just slow traffic, it's moving at difficult speeds. So we're in second, 2,000 revs. It's a bit pulley. Don't know if you can feel that. It's just doing a little bit, but you know, I'm pushing it a bit. So here we have it, Kawasaki Z650RS. Yeah, from a distance it looks like the real McCoy until you start to really think about it, and you think, well, it's a twin, and that big liquid cooled engine and the radiator, the short exhaust, it starts to fall apart. But actually, as a recreation, it's not bad. It looks pretty similar to the Z900RS. But when you see them side by side, it's an awful lot smaller. But when you actually get over the fact that it is a twin, for me, it's actually quite a nice sounding bike, and it goes really well. It feels very sporty to ride, and in the green, whilst I'm not a fan of the colour green that they've used on this, I prefer the clocks on the green one. To be honest, they've got chrome, so it's got these like bullet shaped clocks, which is marvellous. Real throwback, and they feel good, they feel nice, but I think they'd be better with the chrome on. I like it with the chrome and with the chrome around the headlamp. But I think this is the RS, this is supposed to be the bee's knees. It is a lovely looking bike though. Don't think there's, you know, much argument there. And they've sculpted it by covering things up. You know, it's a platform bike. But at first glance, it looks perfect. Obviously mono shock at the back, not the traditional twin shock absorbers or springs, whatever you want to call them, the rear shocks. Nissan brakes, single up front, twin up front, sorry, single behind. And it is a really nice bike. It's comfortable. That's the other thing, is it's actually comfortable. I'm 6'2" and it feels really comfy to ride. But it is a nice looking bike. The colour, the paint, the grey, typical good quality. It feels good. Hate these things, hate them. Yeah, mirrors, Mickey Mouse mirrors, that's fine by me. I don't care if you want bar end or some fancy shaped thing, that's fine for me. I'm a bit of a functionalist. So yeah, excellent. Mudguards, definitely plastic. Know that one. Lots of plastic on it. But you know, for the money, I think about 7,000 something, you're getting a cracking looking bike, really. With a throwback to Kawasaki's 1970s. But with Kawasaki reliability and build quality. Yeah, marvellous. So, as usual, on the way back we'll go through the senses. How does this bike make me feel? But first of all, we've got to do the Suffolk Road test, which is a little back road that we do on our way back. So yeah, we'll see what it's like on the Suffolk back roads. Yeah, so this road's pretty bumpy, and it seems absolutely fine on it. A little bit bouncy. We won't want to be going too quick down here. But it's got 67 brake horsepower, I understand. And whilst it looks like a compact small bike, the seat height's 820 millimeters in new language. Whoa, look at those, amazing. Obviously this bike is a general using bike with a bit of a classic styling, and it's probably more suited to blasting around town on slightly more tailored roads as opposed to these roads, though it's happy to do so. You can see it's happy to do so. It handles very well, turns in easy, sounds lovely, sounds a little bit like a V-twin. Oh, is that just me? That could be the exhaust. So, the senses, sight to look at. Well, the first thing you notice, of course, is it's got two clocks, round ones, that work like old-fashioned clocks. They could be improved by chrome, and this is moondust grey or something they call this one, and this comes with the black, and the green one comes with chrome, and I think it's chrome all the time. Even with this one, it should be chrome, I think. But nonetheless, two clocks, fairly traditional cockpit to look at. The switch gears looks all okay, so it's standard. you know, I mean, there's limited with what you can do. Royal Enfield did a masterpiece with their switchgear, lovely. And to actually look at the bike, it looks the job, doesn't it? I think it looks the job. It is a marvellous little bike, and it handles really well. So to look at, yeah, great. To touch, yeah, it feels pretty good. It does. Handlebars not too far apart, not too close together. Foot pegs, it's quite a narrow bike. It's very narrow, so even with that 82 centimetre seat height, I don't know if that's big or tall or not. I know big or short. I don't know. But if you are short, I wouldn't worry, because it is quite narrow. And it does make a lovely sound. Lovely sound. So you won't be disappointed with the hearing. But we're on touch. And touch, it's quality. It's Kawasaki. Yes, it's sort of more budget end of Kawasaki, but it's really good quality. It is nice to touch, nice and smooth. I think the radiator needs a chrome grille on it or something like that to jazz it up a bit, because it looks a little bit functional. If you look down there and you see that radiator cap, you think, oh, I'm looking under the bonnet of a Mini or something. But it's not bad. It really isn't. I'm sort of trying to look for things to fault it, really, and that's quite difficult to do, because it is a good motorcycle. Yeah, and we move on to sound. And it's a shame it's a blustery day today, as it always seems to be for me. It sounds lovely. The thing about that sound for me is I think it could make me a naughty boy again. I think it could. You know, you might think that's a good thing, and it may well be a good thing, because you could be a naughty boy and stay within the law and not kill yourself, which is always nice. So, another blast down the A14 over the Orwell bridge, and the wind this time had swung round and it was coming from the side, and the little bike, it doesn't weigh a lot. I think it's well under 200 kilos, but it kept going. It was fine with that side wind, and the wind seems to have got up a little bit as well. So it handled that really well. So yeah, the sound, hopefully you can hear what I can hear, is just marvellous. And the handling, it just turns in and goes. The standard tyres that are on it seem pretty good as well. It's proving itself to be a really nice little bike, which surprised me, because I really didn't want to like it, because it's I just felt that it was I don't know, pretending to be something that it wasn't. but I think Mark Pullen's review of it is excellent. So back to the senses then. So the sound is lovely. We've done sight to look at. It's a good looking motorcycle, you know, for I think it's, depends which model you get. I think it's 7,700 or something like that, which isn't a huge amount of money for a bike that harks back to that. It's sort of a modern classic type bike with an established engine, and that engine really is established. You know, they've been making it quite some time. So yeah, taste. I'm not going to taste it. You know that. To feel. Yeah, it's Kawasaki, like I said quite a few times in the past. Kawasaki make good motorbikes and they do a good paint job and they finish things well. All that's missing from this, I think, is a bit of chrome, a bit of nice smooth shiny chrome in places, which of course at the price that you're paying for it is easily doable. It's 40 here. Yeah, so then it comes down to how does it make me feel. Well, I'll tell you what, it's comfortable and it handles well and it does everything. You know, I don't think I've sat on a Japanese bike that didn't handle well and didn't make you feel like you could go anywhere, round any corner on it, and it's going to get you in trouble. And this is no exception to that. It really isn't. Yeah, I guess it makes me feel a little bit like I did in my youth. It's that type of bike, and the fact that it's not a 4-cylinder, I'd have to ride a 654, and you know what, there aren't a huge amount of them about, are they, anymore? Just to see, because there are some distinct advantages to a 650 twin. It has more grunt, it has more pull, you get that throaty noise rather than the racing car noise, if you know what I mean. And so yeah, it's difficult for me because it is a modern motorbike, and they haven't moved from that. If you, I can't explain it. It's like they've just made it look like a retro bike rather than actually made a retro bike, if you know what I mean. And for me, that just distracts a little bit. Would I have one? I think I would. Would I have one over an Interceptor or something else like that? I don't know. I've got to ride the Interceptor again. Pardon me, I've got hiccups. I'm just slurping my coffee at the boatyard. It is very easy to balance. It's going to be a very manageable bike for most people. And I don't think you're going to get into trouble on it, but you feel like you're going to be in trouble, if you know what I mean. You're going to feel like, oh, surely the Rozzers are chasing me now, but you won't have been doing anything wrong. And for that is what I would have it for. I think that's what's in my head. I think lurking in the background is
Yeah, it's a nice bike. It sounds nice. It handles well. The brakes are good. The brakes are just fantastic. The handle. I mean, you really can't fault it. And I'm sure that this is going to be a massive hit. Oh, burger van. There's an idea. You see, it makes me naughty. I'm going to be eating a burger. I can feel it, and all because I've ridden this Kawasaki Z650RS. Nearly said 900. Terrible. It's because there's a Z900 there. Look at that. Yeah, it was marvellous. The thing is, it doesn't have a centre stand. Pity he started up at the same time. So, there we are. So yeah, marvellous little place. Orwell Motorcycles, such good, friendly staff. Nothing's ever too much trouble.